This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Goonies Minute, everybody. Goonies Minute is the fan podcast where we carefully explore the movie Goonies minute by minute. This is Brady.
And this is Chris.
But for right now, you want to go ahead and get into minute number 98?
Let's do that. Let's get into this minute. Let's get into minute number 98.
In the previous minute, Sloth had jumped from the ship to join the other Goonies. Jake and Francis were still tied up and hanging from the top of the ship's mast. Brand is quickly getting all of the Goonies to escape the cave before it is too late. Mikey is saddened by the idea of leaving all of the treasure behind, but Brand grabs him by the shoulder and pulls him along. Ma Fratelli takes a sword and swings it as hard as she can at the rope to cut Jake and Francis down. They shout at her not to use the sword, but it's too late. The rope snaps and they come crashing down onto the deck. The Goonies notice an opening in the cave wall and swim their way over to it. Back in One-Eyed Willie's quarters, Ma stands in front of his skeleton. She thanks him and says that he has made her day. Jake and Francis are swiftly filling bags with as much treasure as they can. Ma reaches for the scale hanging in front of Willie. As she begins to take out some of the gold coins, the weight of the scale changes, and it begins to rise. She has initiated one last booby trap. And thus ends minute 98 of the Goonies. So for the last couple of minutes, we've been up, basically walking the plank. We've been up on the deck. And we've finally gotten away from that location. All of the Goonies have jumped to safety. Sloth has jumped to safety, and now it's just the Fratellis up there.
Everybody is safe, but there's still a lot going on, and I think this minute is one of the most important minutes of the movie. It starts out with somewhat of a realization to Mikey that, there's our future, and now, I know Brand says one thing, we'll come back for it, but I know in his head it's like, we're not coming back for it. This is it. Everything we've gone for, we're so close, we touched it.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen.
So, okay, now we've got the Goonies all swimming over to that crevice in the wall, the cave wall. And, that little bit of sunlight coming into that small crack in the wall sure is illuminating this cave quite a bit.
Although maybe, there's always a chance that there's other natural lighting coming in from other areas. I think it's one of those things that, it's got to be this way, so exactly. Just deal with it.
Yeah, and there could be light coming in from, the ceiling of the cave, I guess, the roof of the cave. So then we get this amazing wide shot of the cave and the ship in the background, and it looks a little bit like that first glimpse that we get of the ship, where it looks a little bit doctored up. It looks like it could be a composite shot of some kind, like a matte painting or something.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little, like there's a horizon almost, like, at where that painting would be. Like it doesn't, they would do a pretty good job at it. We're looking pretty close, but
yeah.
It's definitely a possibility. Next, it brings, after Francis and Jake are wrestling, and Ma says, always focused, let's go find the gold. And it comes to one of my favorite parts of this movie. Thank you, Mr. Willie. Thank you. And this is the only time in this entire movie this woman has a smile. There's a sick softness about her. And she's actually grateful for something.
Yeah.
And she would be grateful. This is a pirate who has killed people, who has stolen the booty.
Someone of her ilk.
Yeah. And only, there's two people that could appreciate One-Eyed Willie, which is kind of really crazy. We have Mikey and we have Ma Fratelli.
Yeah.
If you really want to think about it.
The leaders of our gang. And we already talked about how we think there's a sadistic side to Mikey.
There could be. We talked about it. It's definitely a chance, but this is the only time it was really interesting we saw Ma, the human side of her.
Yeah.
Of course, remember there was a warning from Mikey a while back. Of course, Ma wouldn't have been able to hear it. That's Willie's.
Yes.
Leave that for Willie.
Okay.
And he was correct.
Right. So the minute ends with Ma Fratelli reaching over to the scale to take some of the gold out. And right as she does, right as the minute ends, we see that the scale starts to rise. And she is setting off One-Eyed Willie's final booby trap. So,
I would have liked to seen a little bit more of, you're thinking, another Rube Goldberg. But
yeah.
It's a Rube Goldberg we didn't see.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a one-eyed Willie one, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, but you think you're about to see something elaborate.
And there's a couple little things that do happen.
Yeah, later on.
But not in this minute.
I can't think of them right now because we're not to that minute
we're
yet.
not to that
we're not
minute.
aware yet.
Exactly. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up this minute. But everybody be sure to tune back in tomorrow for minute number 99. So yeah, that's the final episode of Goonies Minute is going to be on Tuesday, May 9th. That's minute number 107 of the movies. So we're going to be doing a lot of special stuff on that final episode. A lot of really cool things. So
much that we haven't even thought about.
We haven't even thought about it. We know we're going to do something. So everybody, thanks for sticking around through the entire show. It's going to be sad to see it go, but I hope that we've done right by this movie and entertained everyone. And we also definitely welcome someone else's take on this movie minute by minute. So until then, this is Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we're here to remind you that Goonies never say die. Goonies Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the show, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can find us at GooniesMinute.com, Facebook.com/GooniesMinute, Twitter.com/GooniesMinute, and at Instagram at GooniesMinute. You can contact us at GooniesMinute@gmail.com. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at Patreon.com/PeleMedia. Check us out on Facebook at Facebook.com/PeleMedia and follow us on Twitter at Twitter.com/PeleMedia.